of what happens if it's not in standard form. So for example, decide whether x squared minus 6x plus y squared plus 10y plus 25 is equal to, is equal to 0, is the circle, has a circle as its graph. Now, when you look at that, you may not necessarily be able to tell that it's a circle right away. So you look at, the important things are that the coefficients on x squared here and y squared there are the same, and in this particular case, they happen to be the understood one. And now what I'm going to do is complete the square on the x, complete the square on the y's, and take a look at the resulting equation. All right, so let's go to the chalkboard, and we will write out that original equation of x squared minus 6x plus y squared plus 10y plus 25 equals 0. And I'm going to rewrite that so as it's set up to do completing the square for both of these. So I'm going to give myself a little bit more space and write x squared minus 6x plus blank, and then plus y squared plus 10y. Then I'm going to do plus blank equals negative 25. And that's just subtracting 25 from both sides. So here, for the x, I take the 6 divided by 2, which gives me 3, and then I square it. So 3 squared is what I need to add to complete the square. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 squared is what I need to add here, which means on the right-hand side, I need to add 9, and I need to add 25. Well, of course, those will cancel each other out. What I get here is x minus 3 quantity squared plus y plus 5 quantity squared equals 3 squared. And so, yes, in fact, that is the equation of a circle. And in particular, it has center 3, comma, negative 5, and it has a radius equal to 3. All right, now let's examine in more detail the parabola. A parabola with a vertical axis is the set of all points in a plane equidistant from a fixed point and a fixed line. The fixed point is called the focus. The fixed line is called the directrix. A parabola with a vertical axis has the following equation. X squared is equal to 4cy. And the focus is 0, comma, c. The directrix is y is equal to negative c. And it has a vertical axis, which is x is equal to 0. And then you can see from these two diagrams, if c is positive, then the parabola opens in the upwards direction. And if c is negative, then it opens in the downward direction. Let's look at a parabola with a horizontal axis. In this case, the equation is y squared equals 4 times cx. The focus would be c, comma, 0, and the directrix would be x is equal to negative c. It has a horizontal axis of y equals 0, and it will open to the right if c is positive, which is this graph here, and it opens to the left when c is negative. I think it's best if we look at some examples of parabolas. So let's do an example where we find the focus, the directrix, and the vertex, as well as the axis of the parabola for the equation x squared is equal to 8y. Let's start by writing that on the board. X squared is equal to 8y. Of course, this has the form of x squared is equal to 4 times c. So we would 4c times y. So we would set 4c equal to 8. And that tells me that c is equal to 2. Since the x term is squared, it is a vertical parabola. The focus will be 0, 2. 0, c, but we just calculated c to be 2. The directrix would be y equals -2. The vertex is 0, 0. And the axis of the parabola is the y-axis. So now we can graph this parabola. We know the vertex is 0, 0. We know the focus is 0, 2. And the directrix is the line y equals -2. And so our parabola opens in the upward direction because c, of course, was positive, and that's the focus. And here's our vertex. So our parabola looks like this. Okay, now what I want to do is kind of do it the other way around. Let's look at trying to write the equation for a parabola. So write the equation of the parabola that has a focus of 2/3, 0 and a vertex at the origin. Well, let me write down focus is 2/3, 0, and the vertex and the focus are both on the x-axis, and that means that the parabola is horizontal. It opens to the right because the focus is to the right of the vertex, and that's what tells us that it would open to the right. The vertex, remember, is the origin, which is 0, 0. Okay, so the axis for the parabola will then be the x-axis. And what we want to do now is graph we're trying to find the equation, so what we know is that it has to take the form y squared is equal to 4cx. And what we know is that y squared is equal to 4 times, well, c is equal to the 2/3. And so 4 times 2/3 times the x, and then y squared will be equal to 8/3 times x. And that would be the equation of that parabola. Well, the next thing I want to look at with you is translations of parabolas. So parabolas that are not going to have their vertex at the origin. So equation forms for translated parabolas that have a vertical axis. A parabola with the vertex h, k and a vertical axis has the equation of the form x minus h quantity squared is equal to 4c times the quantity y minus k. The focus this time is h, k plus c. The directrix is y is equal to k minus c. The vertical axis is x is equal to h, and it opens up if c is positive, and it opens down if c is negative. Well, let's take a look at equation forms for translated parabolas with the horizontal axis.